Okay, man, I'm here. Let's talk hoops, episode 11. Hey, it's the big baby. And I'm back talking hoops. So I'm here and I want to talk a little bit of hoops, man. We have the Suns who are just successfully swept the good old Denver Nuggets and your MVP, right? But before I get to that, man, let's talk a little bit about this weird season, man. I've came on here and I said that this season is very similar to the 2011 season. I think the voters got the MVP wrong in that season. There's one super team that was just put together that we're expecting to win, and now we have the OG veteran who we all wanted to see win a title in a position to win a title. We have Chris Paul going to his second Western Conference Finals. You know, he went with Houston a couple of years ago, and we thought he fell off, and now he's back, and he's balling. You know what I mean? And he's really doing well. Like he's led this team. What was his final stat line for today, man? He went head to head with your MVP Joker, and he vanquished him, man. And if you just think about it, who do you really think is going to win the championship this year? Like I said, like I came on here last week and I was like Brooklyn versus everybody. But I forgot that the biggest opponent for Brooklyn is their own health. But yeah, Chris Paul finished the game with 37 and 7, man, in the closeout for the sweep to go to the Western Conference Finals, man. And I think that Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns are going to be the 2011 Dallas Mavericks, a team led by a vet who hadn't won a ring yet, one who we questioned sometimes who they were in the playoffs, and they're finally going to get over that hump. They got a nice blend of young and old talent on that team, just like that Dallas team did. It was just parts that really worked together very well, man. And like I said, I got the Suns winning it all. That's my overreaction for today. But next topic, the Kings' reign is over. I came on here last week and I had talked about LeBron fatigue. And I never thought that I would be at the point to where I was tired of LeBron. I was the one who's like, man, LeBron, if he goes, he goes. If he stays, he stays. But this playoffs have showed us, if we have not seen anything, it showed us that the league is in good hands. That the reign of King James is over. Look at like we thought that without LeBron, without Steph Curry, that the playoffs would not have the same excitement that we want. But seeing Devin Booker prove to the league that, hey, yeah, I'm a bucket and my buckets count. My buckets lead to winning when I have the right team around me. You have Brooklyn, you have KD, you have Kyrie, you have James Harden. And Kyrie and James Harden are out right now. But it's still interesting. You have Giannis. Can Giannis get over the hump? Can Giannis finally be the playoff player that he was or that he is in a regular season? Can he be that guy? Then we got Utah, Donovan Mitchell, the second coming of Dwayne Wade, probably the most underlooked young player in the league. You know, he doesn't get put in those conversations as elite young players. And it's like, man, he's a two-time All-Star. He's been into the playoffs. He's had good playoff runs already as a young player. Yeah, I know he plays in Utah. I know we don't like Utah. I know we don't watch Utah. I know we don't go to Utah. You know, we don't pick Utah on 2K, but Donovan Mitchell has been balling. Hell, even what Luka was doing, man, we got Kawhi. We got Paul George still there. We've got the coming out party of Ice Tray. We got the process. Is the process finally going to work? We have all of these storylines with all of these great players, and it goes, dang, we really don't miss LeBron. And it's okay for us not to miss LeBron because guess what? We've had LeBron for so long. And this is not a knock on LeBron, the player. It's just saying that the league has caught up to him. Or he's falling back to what the league is. And the league is in great hands. There's a lot of great basketball going on. And we just don't need LeBron James to have good playoffs, man. We got great games. We have great games. And I find it interesting because I think LeBron knows that his reign over the NBA is slipping, or maybe it's over. Because if you saw how he played against Phoenix, he played in spurts. He wasn't consistently great. I mean, he didn't have a great series, if we're being honest here. It was one of his worst series of his career. And then his focus is different. Like I talked about him promoting the movie. And then you see the Instagram post, what, from like Gladiator or Braveheart, one of those movies. I don't remember the movie, but he has the post talking about don't count him out. And it's like, oh yeah, we know you want us. We know you want us to always think about you, but now you're making sure that, like, in your absence of the playoffs, and people saying that you don't have it anymore. That, hold on, let me remind them via a social media post. And it's like, man, you can feel the temperature of the room because LeBron, I think, is one of the more self-aware players in sports, one of the most self-aware public figures that we have, and he can feel and he can see what the league is without him, and he's totally and he's not okay with that. But hey, man, look, the reign is over. All great empires die at one day. Every king ends up having to pass down the throne to someone else. And LeBron, it's time to pass down the crown. And that takes me to the art and science of basketball. Because what I'm finding is that there is a huge disconnect between the people playing the game and the people watching the game. And then even with the people who talk about the game. And it takes me to a place of, well, what should the game look like? Because you have great players like a Russell Westbrook, a prime Derrick Rose, a John Wall type, even a Brad Beal. You know, these are highly skilled basketball players, or supreme athletes. But they get reduced because we're now looking at winning the game, right? We're looking at winning the game and what's the best way to win. And sometimes the best way to win is not the best showcase of talent. Sometimes the best way to win is not the best TV show for the viewers. I think the NFL has done a great job of understanding that they are a TV show, and they do what they can to keep the integrity of the game there, while also having a great television viewing product. You know, the game has become more offensive because we like to see deep passes and big plays as opposed to defensive struggles. And where in the NBA, we have more three-point shooting because the numbers say that more threes equal more points and more efficient offense, but it's a bad TV product. And then if you are a mid-range shooter, it's like, why would you take that mid-range shot? That's a hard shot. That's a hard shot for 2 points when you should go for a layup for those 2 points, or a dunk for those 2 points, or a free throw. Or if you're going to take a harder shot, at least have a higher reward. And I just don't know where we go with this. Because again, as the fan, I want to watch a beautiful game. But as the player, it's not the player's job to entertain us, the fans, right? It's their job to be the best basketball player that they can be. It's the organization's job, and I'm speaking from the basketball side of it. It is their job to create a winning place, a winning culture, to get winning players on their team. And if we're entertained by it, then that's a byproduct, right? But then you go, well, our fan dollars is what fuels this league and makes the sponsorship deals so lucrative, which makes the shoe companies want to be involved, which makes the TV contracts what they are, and the revenue, right? We generate the revenue as the fans, because at the end of the day, if you want to play basketball, you can play basketball anywhere. But the NBA provides the the best of the best, and it puts them together with the best coaching, with the best facilities, with the best shoes, with the best doctors, with the best trainers, and all of that stuff, right? You get the best basketball. But I think that as fans, we think that the players owe us something because we root for them, we support the team, and it's like, no, man. We are entertained by what they give. And if you don't like what you're viewing, don't watch. Don't entertain it. And if you don't follow it, then guess what? The revenue decreases. And if the revenue decreases, they make less money. And so what they have to do is adjust what they want to do, adjust what they're doing to keep the money where it's at. But I just think it's a crazy, interesting dynamic because we're looking for different things, right? The player itself, the coach himself, they have separate goals, even sometimes of what the front office has. If you have a tanking front office, you don't have tanking players because they got to put that film out there. They want to get deals. They want to get their numbers. They want to get their stats because they want to get their money. But then you have the fanatic, the fan who watches the game, who's rooting for their team to win. But guess what? Maybe your team is not trying to win. And then you have media pundits going like, why would this team try to win? That is crazy. They will get a better draft pick if they don't. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What did Hermat would say? You play to win the game. At its root, sports is competition. It's mano y mano. It's me versus you, us versus them. And yes, the money changes it a little bit. It changes it a lot. The TV contracts make it a TV product. Sometimes you want better players to replace the ones that you got, but you're stuck with who you have until you can get better. But that still doesn't mean that you don't play to win the game. And for me, as a fan, it's not about how I feel about it. It's not about what I like. It's about what works best for winning from a team concept, right? But then the player is, how do I maximize who I am along with winning? And if you ask Russell Westbrook, I'm sure he believes that the way he plays puts his team in the best situation to win. Now, somebody like me will say, I'd rather have someone else who plays a different style of basketball on my team so that we can win more games. But you can't tell that man that his effort, that his skill, his talent isn't good enough. Take Carmelo Anthony, for instance, right? Melo set out for a long time. Why? Oh, well, he doesn't fit into the way we want to play winning basketball. He can't, he's not a 3-point shooter, he's a mid-range shooter, and he's a ball stopper. And you go, but he's good at basketball. He's like better than a lot of these people on your team right now. Why would you not bring that in and play him in a way that helps him be the best player that he can be for your team? I think there's a lot of egos, man, and I think I've talked about this on here where Chris Long talked about on the podcast with Ryan Russillo. A lot of coaches can't coach, and we get into this thing of, well, you're going to win the way that I coach you to win, or we're going to lose. Instead of, we're going to adjust our team to the personnel that we have, and we're going to adjust our scheme to the players, right? Now, don't get me wrong, we're still going to want our players to do some of the things that we do fundamentally here. But I think you can't be caught up onto the how it gets done and just focus on it getting done. It's not about who came up with the winning idea or the winning game plan. It's about the winning game plan being created, right? And that goes into the art and science of the game because there's so many competing interests when you're looking at a professional sport, of the coach proving that what he's doing is right, the GM proving that what he's doing is right, the player proving that he is capable or more than capable, and what he's doing is the right way to play. But I just think that all of that gets lost And when we discuss this stuff, we don't even go into the nuances of it because we just we get fixed on what we like. We get fixed on our biases and our ways of thinking that we do things, or the people that we trust and we believe in. Like, we talk about Greg Popovich being a great coach, but guess what? Greg Popovich is not a great coach without great players. He doesn't win 5 championships without great players. And then you look at the owners. The owner has a totally different set of goals than the rest of the team, because the owner is over here trying to run a business and they're only thinking about their bottom line. And I think what we have to do in sports is start booting bad owners. Because if you think about it, owning a sports team, the way it happens runs counter to most businesses and most industries. Usually people work at a company and they work their way up in that company, in that field, and they end up being able to run it because they have a certain level of expertise that allows them to be competent enough, and the board of directors or whoever being confident in them running this organization right. Then you take sports. There is not a pipeline for athlete to owner. There's hardly a pipeline for athlete to coach, athlete to executive, if we're being honest. Yes, they are obviously there and it's getting better, but there are a lot of coaches who are not high-end athletes, and that's fine. There's a lot of executives who aren't high-end athletes, and that's fine. But being a great athlete, being a great player does not necessarily set you up to advance within that same field. And then you have the billionaire owner who can have absolutely no knowledge of the sport, only be a fan or just be filthy rich, and they buy a team. And their interests are profiting, operating in the black, staying out of the red. Well, if you own a team, you're gonna make money, okay? Like, if you can own a sports teams make money. But the problem is, when money is driving what you do, running your team, it may not necessarily relate to winning. Winning should be first and foremost, because your coach is trying to win, your players are trying to win, and your GM is trying to win. Their ability to keep a job is based upon their ability to win, their ability to contribute to winning. But then the ethos of the company itself is to create profit. And again, not every sports team is like that, but the bad ones are like that. So here's what I propose. I propose that ownership should be temporary. I mean, players can get cut, traded, coaches can get fired, GMs can get fired. But the problem usually starts upstairs, and it's next to impossible to replace that person. Now, is there anything that could ever happen that the NBA would be able to pass that would create this? Absolutely not. It's never going to happen, because this is America and we don't take businesses away from people. But I think that we would have a better on-court product. We'd have a better TV product if we got rid of the owners who didn't care. I was listening to a podcast, and I think it was Bill Simmons. It may have been Ryan Russillo. I'm sorry. I don't remember which one. I think it was Russillo. And the question was, would you rather have 5 rings and make a $200 million profit, or have 0 rings and make billions of dollars in profit? And most owners will take the billions and no rings. But again, that runs counter to what the team is doing. Like, if the ticket sales are good, then the team is good. I was listening to someone talk about when Allen Iverson was in Philadelphia. Why would they pay another max contract guy when Allen Iverson is selling out the arena every night? So you mean I got to spend $20 more million a year on somebody who's not going to boost my sales? That's bad business. But it's good for the team. It's good for winning. And when you have these clashes of philosophy, you end up losing. Everybody loses. You lose coaches, you lose GMs, you lose players. And that's the beautiful thing about what I see the New England Patriots do, man. Like, it's about winning there. It's about winning. And that's been great. If ticket sales are good, the team is good. And the wild thing is, in sports, right? The owners can be businessmen. They can make the best decision for their business. But we get upset when athletes make the best decision for their business. We go, why would you leave this team to go somewhere else and win? Or why would you leave this opportunity here when someone else is offering you more money? It's like, oh no, you should take a hometown discount. Why should I take a hometown discount? My owner's not taking a hometown discount. Why should I, the laborer here, have to take a discount for you, the owner? Shannon Sharp says it all the time. It's not my job to worry about your salary cap. That's your job. You got the capologist. You have the people there. It's not my job to do anything for your salary cap. You figure that out yourself. But here's what I'm worth and here's what I want if you pay me. And I think that, like, as fans and like the viewing public, we need to take more of that approach because we're all opportunists. We're going to do what we think is best for us when it's best for us. So why in the world would we knock somebody for doing the same thing, right? Like, why would we say, oh my God, I can't believe Kevin Durant left Golden State? Well, he didn't want to be there anymore. He could go elsewhere, so he left. Or I can't believe Kyrie left Brad Stevens. Oh, well, he wanted to leave there, and so he left. Like, if somebody owns a team and they get tired of dealing with it, they don't want to do it anymore, guess what they're going to do? They're going to sell their team. Is that a lack of loyalty? Or look what happened to the OKC Thunder, the former Seattle Supersonics. Sold the team, moved the team. Why? Because people do what they want to do. And we should think the same way for our athletes as we do for ourselves. We're going to make the best decisions. But I'm telling you, you put these owners on a 10-year contracts, man. You own the team for 10 years. And let's see, what could the standards be, right? There has to be a certain level of competence there, right? A certain level of success. And I'm not saying you have to win a championship at all, because if you look at the Utah Jazz, they have not won a championship, but they're a well-run organization. You know, they've been competitive throughout my entire life, whether it was the Stockton Malone era, whether it was the Deron Williams era, into Gordon Hayward, into now Donovan Mitchell. They have been a successful franchise. They just haven't won a ring yet. You look at the Memphis Grizzlies. They're a well-run franchise. They've had their ups and their downs, but they have more ups than downs. Then you take a look at a team like Orlando, and they still sneak in the playoffs every now and then. But is that ownership group doing what they need to be doing to build a winner? Is what's going on in Minnesota really winning type stuff? That's where I'm at with it. We give them 10 years, and I promise you, if they have to deliver, you're going to see more owners ensuring that it's just not about selling out seats. You're going to see owners who are trying to win games making the best decisions for competition, because they know that their ownership slot, the fact that they can walk into a room and say, oh yeah, I own the Knicks. Here's you want to pay, come to my box for a game. For all the other money that they get to make off being an owner, all the relationships that they build by being owners, the fact that there's so few owners of sports teams, and that's just, that's the trump card in so many different situations. Maybe they try to own better. But anyways, let's talk a little bit of the playoffs, man. Let's talk a little playoffs. I'm going to talk about two series. Let's talk about Brittle Brooklyn. Now, I was in here screaming, Brooklyn versus everybody, and I forgot they have to play against the injury bug, because Kevin Durant has the injury history. Kyrie has the injury history. Chris Paul. James Harden has been pretty consistent and available his entire career, but he has his hamstring thing that's keeping him down. And you know it's the real thing, because the series is tied 2-2 now, and he didn't play today. He didn't play the game before. He hasn't played all series. Well, Kyrie's ankle goes down. Looked like it, man. It seemed like his ankle popped so low that it hit the darn wood on the court, man, the hardwood. And real quick, hey, wait.
How lucky
Hold up, big baby. Big baby Davis. Are you serious, man? Are you serious to say that? Oh, that's the angle that he stepped on. Look, he stepped on Lucky with. Like, bro, who cares about Lucky? Lucky gets stepped on every day during every single basketball game because why? He's on the floor. You can't get mad at somebody for stepping on the floor. And maybe you took it as a sign of disrespect. So what? So what? Are you so ingrained into Celtic culture? Are you so in love with Danny Ainge? Are you so in love with '08, the old days, that you think that stuff is bigger than that? Like, you wishing bad on somebody because they stepped on a darn floor? Are you serious? Like, maybe you're joking, but that's a bad joke. That's a weak joke. Be better than that, man. Like, that's just disgusting. But anyway, it's Brittle Brooklyn. They're brittle, they're broken, and they're not going to win a championship. When they were clicking on all cylinders, I believe that they would, but I don't know if they get out of Milwaukee because they can't stop Giannis. Blake Griffin has turned back into his Detroit self like he should have. He's no longer Clippers Blake, and Kevin Durant can't do it by himself. PJ Tucker's playing great aggressive defense, and then he gave him 13 points today. You get 34 and like 13 from Giannis. You're getting a competent Chris Middleton, and then you have Drew Holiday just making timely plays, doing little things that don't show up in the stat sheet. It's over with for Brooklyn, man. They're too brittle. They're broken. Instead of Brooklyn, we should call them Brooklyn because they're broken. And I really thought they were going to win the championship, man. But they're the Heatles. They're the Heatles. They're the 2011 Heatles. The team that came together. Everybody picked them to win it. They got the best players. But they don't have the chemistry. They don't have the health. They have large gaps. They have large gaps in their team. And those gaps are now being exploited by Milwaukee. Sorry, KD can't do it by himself. Kyrie hurt again. Harden, we ain't seen them all series. And now Milwaukee's won 2 games in a row. They have the momentum. They stomped them out today, and then they won a hard-fought game 3. So if they go in Brooklyn and take game 4, I got Milwaukee in 6. Straight up. So let me get to my last topic of the day. I said I was gonna do a Donovan Mitchell topic, but I'm not. I'm gonna I'll get to that next week. Let's talk about the Suns. The Suns sweep. Chris Paul redemption tour. Chris Paul, the MVP. He sends Jokic home in 4. Is this your MVP? You got Chris Paul as the Chris Paul. You had Jokic win the MVP. You had Steph in 3rd place for the MVP, and neither one of them made it out of the second round. Is that your MVP? Is this your MVP? Look, man, Jokic is a great basketball player. He played all season. He put up good numbers. But I mean, when he came out the game today, it was kind of still clicking. But I know we're gonna say that superstar Jamal Murray wasn't there, and it would have been a different series with superstar Jamal Murray. But I'm like, bro, y'all got pretty much blown out in every single game, and you lost in 4. And then Jokic, what kind of MVP gets tossed? MVPs don't get tossed from games. And I get that some people have an issue with that flagrant 2 being a flagrant 2 because it's like he was making a play on the ball, but on the way to the ball, he just slapped the hell out of Cameron Payne in the face. As MVP, you can't do that. You have to stay composed. You could see that he was fired up. It was a frustration foul. He was upset at the fact that they were losing. They were about to go home. He was on his way to Cancun or wherever he's going to spend his summertime. And he was frustrated. And I just think you have to be better than that as the MVP. You're now stepping into a different place where you're face of the league type person. You know, you're a representation of the NBA, and certain things you just can't do anymore. If Austin Rivers does that, who cares? If Will Barton does that, who cares? But Nikola Jokic, you can't do that. Especially when you're the MVP and you're getting sent home by the real MVP. I told y'all Chris Paul was the MVP. The way the Suns are looking right now, man, it's absolutely amazing, man. I really think they can win it all. Because when you got Chris Paul just dictating the flow of the game, playing that offense, and you got Devin Booker on the wing getting the buckets at will. I mean, look at the closeout game. Look what he did to the Lakers in game 6. Look what he did today. He's coming in clutch when you need him. He's playing great basketball, and then they have great role players, man. DeAndre Ayton has stepped up. He's showing people why he was maybe the right draft pick for them. Yeah, y'all gonna say, well, no, if they had Luca, they could. Well, maybe, maybe not. As much as Luca dominates the ball, I don't know if Devin Booker would be the best Devin Booker that he is. I think Chris Paul has a better feel for the game. I think DeAndre Ayton provides something that they really need, like a good post player, a walking double double, someone who played great defense versus Jokic and made him work. The Suns sweep. Suns are going to be the champions. I I don't really have anything else for you today, man. Like I say, Suns and Philly, maybe Suns and Milwaukee. We'll see. I don't think the Hawks are going to beat Philly. I would like for them to make it an interesting series, but I don't think they're going to win. Yeah, Suns sweep. Shout out to Chris Paul, man. And hey, let's talk hoops, baby. We out.